it now!
I'm trying, he's crashing.
She had 30 seconds to save Seoul's deadliest man, and the rest of her life to regret it. The syringe trembled in Dr. Amara Okafor's hand, not from fear, but from the adrenaline screaming through her veins. The man convulsing on her basement clinic table was dying, lips turning blue, pupils blown wide. Hemlock poisoning shutting down his organs one by one. She had maybe 90 seconds before brain death. 5 masked men in black tactical gear surrounded her, guns drawn, barrels kissed with recent smoke. The leader stepped forward. Save him, now, or join him. Amara's fingers steadied. She'd learned this in Lagos, to operate while politicians held guns to her head, deciding who lived and who became a statistic. Her hands never shook when death was watching. She plunged the improvised antidote directly into his heart. For 3 seconds, nothing. The gunman tensed. She held her breath. Then his chest heaved. His eyes snapped open, black, infinite, burning into her like he was committing her face to memory for reasons she didn't want to imagine. The world stopped. Just her and those eyes. Then chaos erupted, his men shouting, checking vitals, lifting him. But he never looked away from her, not once. As they carried him toward the door, he spoke, voice like gravel and silk. Find out everything about her, everything. The door slammed. Silence swallowed her clinic. But Amara knew. Her invisible life just ended. 48 hours later, they came for her. She saved the man every woman in Seoul fears. But she's about to discover why they don't just fear his power. Subscribe now, because what happens next will shatter everything you think you know about love, danger, and the one secret that could destroy them both. Hit that button. You won't regret it. Black SUVs materialized outside her apartment at 3 a.m, like predators emerging from shadows. Amara was dragged from her bed, still in her sleep clothes, before she could scream. She fought, broke one guard's nose with her elbow, drew blood. But 6 hands subdued her within seconds. The car ride to Gangnam was silent except for her racing heart. Through the tinted windows, Seoul transformed from her shabby neighborhood to a world of glass towers and old money. The compound they pulled into looked like a fortress disguised as a mansion, marble and steel and secrets. They dragged her through hallways where expensive art watched like eyes. Double doors opened to an office that smelled of leather and power. Kang Tae-jin waited behind a desk of dark wood. He'd transformed from the dying man on her table. Immaculate Tom Ford suit, hair styled with precision, command radiating from every pore. But those eyes, still black, still infinite, still burning into her. Dr. Okafor. He gestured to a chair. Sit. She remained standing, chin raised. What do you want? His smile was a knife wrapped in silk. You saved my life. That makes you dangerous. Then why am I still breathing? Because I'm curious about you. He opened a laptop, turned it toward her. Amara's blood turned to ice. On screen, her brother Chidi, walking across the University of Lagos campus. Live footage, right now. A red dot from a laser sight danced across his back. No. The word ripped from her throat. Tae-jin's finger hovered over his phone. 1 call. That's all it takes. Leave my brother out of this. Then you'll do exactly as I say. He leaned back, studying her like a specimen. I need a personal physician, someone skilled, someone who asks no questions. You fit both requirements. I'm a doctor, and I need a consultant for my pharmaceutical ventures. He slid a folder across the desk. Your medical expertise will help maximize profit from our pain medication line. She opened it, saw the patient data. Elderly cancer patients, injured workers, desperate people. Saw the addiction rates, 73%. This will destroy lives. This will fund your future. Someday, perhaps, your own clinic. Clean, legal, everything you've dreamed of since Lagos. I won't help you turn suffering into profit. His hand moved toward the phone. On screen, Chidi stopped to talk to a friend, laughing, oblivious to the scope trained on his spine. She heard his phone begin to ring through the laptop speakers. "Stop!" Her voice cracked. "Fine, I'll do it." He ended the call before Chidi could answer. "Smart choice, Dr. Okafor." Amara's hands clenched into fists. "I hope you choke on your blood money." His smile widened. "I like you already." He stood, buttoned his jacket. "You'll have luxury quarters, a medical suite with anything you need. My men will retrieve your belongings from your apartment." "And my brother?" "Remain safe, as long as you cooperate." He moved toward the door, then paused. "The previous physician left medical supplies in the cabinet. Feel free to reorganize." The door closed behind him with a sound like a coffin ceiling. Guards escorted her through the compound to quarters that mocked her with their opulence. King bed, marble bathroom, closet filled with clothes in her exact size. He'd researched her measurements, but the door locked from the outside. Amara sank onto the bed, buried her face in her hands. 3 months she'd been invisible in Seoul, working underground clinics, sending money home to Chidi. 3 months of safety, destroyed in 30 seconds. That night, she unpacked her few belongings with shaking hands, found the photo she'd carried from Lagos, her mother, her father, Chidi grinning between them, the family she'd left behind to survive. Screaming shattered the silence. She ran to the window. Below, in the pristine courtyard, Tae-jin stood over a man tied to a chair. Floodlights illuminated the scene like a stage. Amara watched, unable to look away, as he broke the man's fingers one by one. Methodical, calm, asking questions between each crack of bone. The man begged, revealed information through his sobs. Tae-jin listened, nodded, then put a single bullet through his skull. Blood sprayed across white stone. Amara's stomach heaved. She pressed her fist to her mouth, swallowing bile. Tae-jin wiped his hands clean with a white handkerchief. Then he looked up, directly at her window, as if he'd known she was watching all along. Their eyes locked across the distance. He didn't look away. Neither did she. An hour later, someone knocked. She opened the door. Tae-jin stood there, jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, spots of blood still visible on his collar. "What you saw tonight," he said quietly. "That's who I am. The monster they whisper about. Can you handle that?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "What I can't handle is being blackmailed with my brother's life." Something flickered in his eyes. Respect, amusement. "Then we understand each other. You're not a prisoner, Dr. Okafor. You're my doctor and my business partner." He turned to leave. "Wait." She hated herself for asking. "The man you killed, what did he do?" "Stole from me, lied about it, then tried to run." His voice held no emotion. "In my world, that's a death sentence. And in mine, we're supposed to save lives, not end them. Then it's fortunate you're only responsible for saving mine." He walked away, footsteps echoing down the marble hall. Amara closed the door, locked it from the inside, though she knew it meant nothing. She returned to organizing the medical suite, needing something to do with her hands. The main cabinet opened smoothly. Perfectly organized supplies, expensive equipment, everything labeled. But one drawer stuck. She yanked harder. It finally gave way, and something wedged in the back fell out. A small notebook, pages covered in Japanese writing, but one line at the very end was in English. 3 months I tried, I failed. God help whoever comes after me. YT. Amara's hands went cold. The previous doctor hadn't just left. She'd fled. But from what? Week 1 in the gilded cage taught Amara that monsters wore expensive suits and spoke in polite tones while destroying lives. Tae-jin summoned her to a morning meeting in a glass tower overlooking the Han River. The boardroom smelled of leather and ambition. Pharmaceutical executives in their 50s smiled with too many teeth. Dr. Okafor. The lead executive slid a presentation across the table. "Your medical expertise is exactly what we need." She reviewed the documents. Advanced pain medication, highly effective, and according to the clinical data buried in the appendix, 73% addiction rate within 6 months. This will trap people. She looked up, meeting their eyes one by one. Elderly patients, workers with injuries, chronic pain sufferers. You're not treating them. You're creating lifelong customers. The room went silent. Tae-jin's voice cut through like ice. Dr. Okafor, perhaps you need more time to review. I've reviewed enough. She stood, pushing the papers away. I won't sign off on this. Find another doctor to profit from people's suffering. She walked out. Her hands shook, but she kept her spine straight. In the car ride back, Tae-jin's fury filled the space between them like a living thing. You embarrassed me, he said quietly, dangerously, in front of partners worth millions. Good. Maybe they'll see you have limits. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. Not hard enough to bruise, but enough to remind her who held power. You forget I own your brother's life. She jerked free, meeting his glare. Then end it. Call them. At least Chidi will die knowing I didn't help you destroy thousands of families. Something shifted in his eyes. The grip loosened. He released her, turned to stare out the window. The rest of the drive passed in silence. That night, unable to sleep, Amara wandered the compound's halls. Tae-jin's voice drifted from his office, door slightly ajar. The deal's off. His tone was steel. Find another doctor to sign your poison. He hung up, looked up, saw her in the doorway. Their eyes met. He said nothing. She said nothing. He walked past her without a word. Amara returned to her quarters, mind spinning. He'd killed the deal, sacrificed millions. Why? The next morning, she found Min-jae in the medical suite, pretending to inventory supplies. Who was YT? She held up the notebook. The previous doctor. Min-jae's shoulders tensed. Dr. Yuki Tanaka. She worked here briefly. It didn't work out. Why not? Ask the boss. He moved toward the door. Min-jae, please, I need to understand. You'll find out soon enough. He left before she could press further. But that afternoon, curiosity drove her to Tae-jin's office while he was out. The desk was locked, but she'd learned lockpicking from a nurse in Lagos who'd survived worse than gangsters. Inside the drawer, files, contracts, and a photograph. A beautiful Japanese woman stood stiffly beside Tae-jin in what looked like a formal dinner. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Her hand on his arm seemed reluctant. Amara pocketed the photo. Later, she found Min-jae alone in the security room, photographing documents from Tae-jin's safe with his phone. He was so focused he didn't hear her approach. She watched him send the photos, heard him mutter in Korean, a name she caught. Park. Min-jae spun around, went white. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. Who's Park? His jaw clenched. You were spying on me? You're the spy. Who is he? Long silence. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at her. My sister's life depends on my silence. Don't ask me to choose between her and him. He pushed past her, leaving Amara alone in the cold light of the monitors. She didn't tell Tae-jin. If she did, what would happen to Min-jae's sister? The same thing that would happen to Chidi if she disobeyed. That night, she researched instead. Park plus Kang Tae-jin brought up news articles from 5 years ago. Park Jin-woo's brother found dead in Gangnam. Execution-style killing. Kang Tae-jin suspected but never charged. Underground forums whispered the details the news wouldn't print. Park's brother was a monster, built like a freak, used his body as a weapon against women, violent because he hated what he was. Kang killed him during one of those attacks. Some say it was justice. Others say it was because they were the same, cursed the same way. Amara stared at the screen. Tae-jin had killed a man with a similar condition to whatever secret he carried. Not just killed, executed him while he was attacking someone. Because of what the man was doing, or because of what he was. She needed answers. Late that night, homesickness and frustration drove her to the compound's industrial kitchen. She cooked jollof rice the way her grandmother had taught her. The smell of home, of her mother's kitchen, of everything she'd lost. Smells like Lagos. She spun. Tae-jin stood in the doorway barefoot, dress shirt half unbuttoned, hair unstyled for the first time since she'd met him. Almost human. Everything here smells like blood and money. She turned back to stirring. He approached slowly like she might bolt. May I? She handed him a spoon, watched him taste. His eyes closed. My mother used to cook for me, he said softly, before she decided I was more valuable as a bargaining chip than a son. Something in her chest cracked. 3 arranged marriages before you were 25. I read about them. They all failed before the wedding night. He set the spoon down. Want to know why? Yes. Too bad. But his voice held pain, not dismissal. She placed a bowl in front of him, served herself. They ate in surprising silence, not uncomfortable, just quiet. Why did you kill Park's brother? The question escaped before she could stop it. His hand stilled halfway to his mouth. You've been researching. I need to understand who I'm working for. Long pause. Then, he was torturing a woman for sport, using his size as a weapon. I executed him for it. Because of what he was doing, or because of what he was? His eyes met hers, and she saw the truth there, raw and bleeding. Both. He was what I feared I'd become, a monster defined by his body. I killed him to kill that fear. Did it work? No, the fear just grew. The admission hung between them like a confession. Amara reached across the counter without thinking, covered his hand with hers. He stared at the contact like he'd forgotten what gentle touch felt like. Footsteps approached, guards on rounds. She pulled back. The moment shattered, but something had shifted. Some wall had cracked. He stood, took his empty bowl to the sink. Thank you for the meal, Dr. Okafor. Amara, you can call me Amara. He paused at the doorway. Amara. Her name and his voice sounded like a prayer. Then he was gone. She cleaned up, mind racing. The monster had shown her his humanity, and somehow that made everything more dangerous, because monsters were easy to hate. But this man with pain in his eyes and his mother's memory in his heart, this was complicated. Week 2, and Amara had memorized every guard rotation, every security camera angle, every locked doors mechanism. She waited until 3 a.m, the shift change, that precious 3-minute gap when attention wandered, picked the lock on her door with a hairpin, moved through shadows like the nurses in Lagos had taught her. The compound's outer gate loomed ahead. Freedom, Chidi, escape. She ran. Seoul's streets swallowed her. Neon signs, empty sidewalks, the smell of fried chicken from a late-night restaurant. 4 blocks. She made it 4 blocks before Tae-jin's black car cut her off. He yanked her into the back seat himself. No guards. Just him, still in sleeping clothes, hair disheveled, fear beneath fury. Where did you think you'd go? Anywhere. I'll disappear. Get Chidi out of Lagos. We'll hide. You'll die. He pulled her through the compound gates, dragged her to the security room, slammed his hand on the desk, bringing monitors to life. Park Jin-woo's men, camped across the street, cameras trained on the compound gates, 3 weeks of surveillance footage. Park has been waiting for you to leave alone. Tae-jin's voice shook. The moment you step outside my protection, he takes you, and what he does to women to hurt me. He couldn't finish. I've had to identify the bodies. Amara stared at the screens. Men with assault rifles, thermal imaging equipment, watching, waiting. Why does he want to destroy you so badly? I killed his brother 5 years ago. His jaw clenched. He swore he'd take everything I love. You don't love anything. His eyes burned into hers. Not yet, but if I did, he'd already know. The weight of that confession pressed against her chest. She was becoming his weakness, and in his world, weakness meant death. Back in her quarters, she didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling, trapped by walls and by watchers and by something far more dangerous, the way her heart had stuttered when he'd said not yet. Week 3 shattered any illusion of safety. Tae-jin met with allies at a downtown restaurant. Business, he'd said. Routine. The ambush came during dessert. Park Jin-woo's voice boomed through a megaphone outside. "Come out, Kang! Let's see if you're as brave as my brother was broken!" Gunfire erupted. Windows exploded. Tae-jin's men returned fire, pulling him toward the back exit. But Amara, monitoring from the compound through security feeds Min-jae had taught her to access, saw Park's snipers on the roofs, saw the trap closing. She grabbed her medical kit, screamed at the guards to take her there. By the time she arrived, 3 of Tae-jin's men were down. He was standing over Min-jae, taking a bullet to his lower abdomen that had been meant for his second-in-command. He collapsed. "Get him in the car!" Amara's voice cut through chaos. She pressed her hands to the wound, felt hot blood pulse between her fingers. "Drive! Now!" The compound's medical suite became an operating room. 3 hours of surgery. The bullet had lodged near his femoral artery, millimeters from death. She saved him. Again. When he woke in the early morning light, groggy from anesthesia, his first words were, "Min-jae? Alive. Because of you." He tried to sit up, groaned, "Don't move." She checked his vitals, then met his eyes. "I need to examine the wound area. The bullet was close to major vessels. I have to check for nerve damage, vascular compromise." Terror flooded his face. "No. Tae-jin, I'm your doctor. You don't understand." His voice cracked. "When you see, you'll leave. Everyone leaves." "I won't leave." "Yes, you will. Yuki tried for 3 months. She loved me. She still couldn't." He turned his face away. "I hurt her every time. I'm built wrong, Amara." Her heart cracked. "Let me see. Let me help." Silence stretched. Then, barely audible. "Just, please don't look at me like I'm a monster after." She pulled on gloves. "Professional, gentle," began the examination. Then she saw it. Her breath caught. His body was extreme, not just large, impossibly, almost frighteningly so. The kind of proportions that made intimacy seem not difficult, but genuinely impossible. Nature's cruelest gift. Her hands froze mid-examination. Her eyes widened, a sharp, involuntary intake of breath. She tried to school her expression. Failed. He saw every micro-expression. His world ended. "There it is." His voice broke. "That fear. Get out." "Tae-jin, get out!" Raw anguish ripped from him. "I don't need your pity or your horror. Just leave like Yuki, like all of them. I'm a freak who can't have a normal relationship without sending women to the hospital." She forced herself to continue, hands trembling, checked nerve function, vascular response, everything medically necessary. "No permanent damage," she managed. "You'll heal." "Will I?" His laugh was broken glass. "Or will I just keep being this thing that everyone fears?" She had no answer, left the room before he could see her own tears. In her quarters, she collapsed on the bed, opened her laptop with shaking hands. Extreme size sexual incompatibility, physical impossibility, chronic pain and tearing. The medical forums were filled with stories, women discussing partners too large, the attempts, the pain, the giving up. One woman had needed surgery after, another had tried for a year before accepting it would never work. Amara pulled up anatomical diagrams, compared proportions. His would be off every chart. She touched her own body, trying to imagine, and felt fear grip her chest like a fist. The moment she pictured herself landing on the hospital bed severally, or even worse, needing walking sticks soon, terrified beads of sweat began to form on her forehead. But beneath the fear, she remembered her mentor's voice from Lagos. Medicine is seeing past the body to the person. She looked at the photo she'd stolen from Tae-jin's desk. Yuki's strained smile, her reluctant touch. Amara thought of him in the kitchen, talking about his mother, in the security room, terrified for her safety, taking a bullet for Minjae without hesitation, the man behind the monster. A knock shattered her thoughts. The guard's face was pale. "Doctor, the boss is refusing pain medication. Says he deserves the pain. He's going to hurt himself." She ran, found him ripping out his IV, blood dripping down his arm. "What are you doing?" "Feeling something real." His eyes were wild. "Better than the look you gave me." She grabbed his arm, restraining him. "Stop this." "Why? So I can keep pretending I'm not a monster?" She slapped him, hard. He stared at her, shocked. "You are not a monster." Her voice broke. "You're a man dealt an impossible hand, but that doesn't make you a monster." Tears she'd been holding back spilled over. "Yes, I was shocked. Yes, I'm scared. But not of you. I'm scared for us. Because I'm falling in love with you and I don't know if we can ever—" She couldn't finish, couldn't say the words. He reached up with his free hand, wiped her tears with his thumb. "Don't love me. Please, I can't hurt you too." Too late. They stared at each other, raw, broken, desperate. His hand cupped her face. "Amara, don't say it. Don't tell me it's impossible. I know it's impossible, but I'm falling anyway." "Then we're both fools." She reinserted his IV with gentle hands, stayed beside his bed until he fell asleep. But one question burned in her mind. Could love really overcome biology itself? 3 days later, he was healed enough, both terrified, both determined. They spent hours researching together. Medical journals spread across his bed, laptops glowing in the dim light, anatomical diagrams, forum testimonials, clinical studies on extreme size incompatibility. "There are techniques," Amara said, not meeting his eyes. "Gradual preparation, specific positioning, medical-grade aids. And if none of it works, then we'll know we tried." That night, the compound fell silent around them. Tae-jin locked his bedroom door with shaking hands. "We don't have to," he said. "Amara, if you're not ready—" "I'm terrified." She turned to face him. "But I want to try, with you." They began slowly, hours of patience, every textbook technique, her using breathing exercises, relaxation methods learned from research. But when he finally attempted entry, even just the beginning, sharp, immediate pain tore through her. She gasped, tried to breathe through it. "Keep going, slowly." He moved millimeter by millimeter. Her body fought against the intrusion. Tears streamed down her face, not from emotion, but pure physical agony. "Stop!" Her voice cracked. "Please stop." He pulled back instantly. Horror dawned on his face. "You're bleeding." She looked. Minor tearing. Real blood. They tried different angles, more preparation, 20 agonizing minutes of attempts, each one worse than the last. "I can't." She was sobbing now. "I'm sorry, I can't." His devastation was complete. He curled away from her, shoulders shaking. "This is why Yuki left, why they all leave. I hurt everyone who tries to love me." She pulled him into her arms, both of them crying. "It's not your fault, it's just biology." "Cruel biology. I'm cursed, Amara." "You're not cursed, you're just challenging. But we'll find a way." But neither believed it. They held each other through the night, grief and love tangled together like their bodies couldn't be. The next days were research, obsessive, desperate research. Options emerged, months of gradual dilation therapy, painful, uncertain success. Specific angles and positioning, still risky. Numbing agents and medical lubricants, treating symptoms, not causes, or surgical reduction. Amara brought it up carefully over breakfast. "There's a procedure. It would reduce you to more manageable proportions. Men have it done for medical reasons." He exploded. "Mutilate myself?" His coffee cup shattered against the wall. "Cut away parts of my body to fit someone else's expectations?" It's not about expectations. It's about making intimacy possible. For you, so I can be normal enough for you to love. That's not what I meant. I've spent my entire life being told I'm wrong. He was shaking. My parents, my arranged brides, every woman who saw me, all saying, "You're too much, you need to be less." I won't let a surgeon tell me that too. Tae-jin, please. My body is mine. My pain is mine. If you can't accept me as I am, then leave like all the rest. She stood, tears streaming. I'm trying to find a solution. I don't need a solution. I need acceptance. He stormed out. The door slammed. Amara sank to the floor, the impossibility crushing her. She loved him, completely, but love couldn't change anatomy. That night, gunfire erupted. She grabbed her medical kit by instinct, ran toward the sound, found Tae-jin fighting through his own compound, taking down intruders with brutal efficiency. Then she saw why. Min-jae stood at the main gates, letting Park's men flood inside. "Min-jae!" Amara screamed. "What are you doing?" His face was tortured. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Park has my sister, Hana. He'll kill her if I don't help him." Tae-jin appeared, gun drawn. The betrayal on his face broke something in the air. 8 years, Min-jae. I gave you everything. I know. Min-jae was crying. And I betrayed you, but he has my only family. What would you do? Park Jin-woo stepped from the shadows, dragging a young woman, early 20s, terrified, resembling Min-jae. "Please, brother, I'm sorry," Hana sobbed. Park pressed a gun to her temple. "Choose, Min-jae, your boss or your blood." Tae-jin lowered his weapon. "Let her go. Take me instead." "No!" Amara and Min-jae shouted simultaneously. Park laughed. "The freak has a heart. But I want more than you, Kang. I want you to watch her die first." He swung the gun toward Amara. The shot never came. Tae-jin's loyal guards stormed in. They'd been tracking Min-jae's betrayal for days, waiting for Park to show himself. Chaos erupted. Park barely escaped through a back exit, screaming, "This isn't over!" When the smoke cleared, Hana was safe. Min-jae was on his knees, devastated. Tae-jin stood over him. "You saved your sister. I understand that, but I can't trust you anymore. Take Hana. Leave tonight." "Boss, Leave, before I change my mind." Min-jae and Hana left, her crying, him broken. The compound was secure but damaged. Dawn broke over Seoul. Tae-jin found Amara in the medical suite, hands shaking as she restocked supplies. "You could have died," he said quietly. "So could you. Park escaped. He'll come back. Then we'll fight him. Together." He crossed to her, pulled her into his arms. "I'm sorry for the fight. For everything. I'm sorry, too. I shouldn't have suggested the surgery. Your body is yours." They held each other, exhausted. "I don't want to lose you," he whispered into her hair. "You won't." "But we can't. I can't give you what you need." She pulled back, looked into his eyes. "Then let's try again. No pressure, no expectations. Just us, learning together. Amara, one more time, please." That night, they tried again. 3 hours of preparation, every technique from their research, her on top, controlling everything, depth, angle, speed. Constant communication. "How's this?" "Better, go slower." "Tell me if anything hurts." Gradual entry. 20 minutes for what should take seconds. It was still difficult, still required extreme care, but with the right angle, with absolute trust, with inch-by-inch patience. Connection happened. The moment they were fully joined, both gasped, her relief mixed with manageable sensation, his pure disbelief. "We did it," she breathed, laughing through overwhelmed tears. "We did it." He held completely still, afraid to move, afraid this was a dream. She began to move, slowly, carefully, listening to her body. Watching his face, not perfect, still moments of discomfort, but real, possible, theirs. Afterward, tangled together, both crying happy tears. I never thought I could... He couldn't finish. With anyone, ever. I know, but we did. Together, and we'll keep learning. I love you. I love you too, always. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, finally believing impossible things could become possible. But outside, Park Jin-woo was already planning his revenge. Morning light found them still tangled together. Tae-jin woke first, watching Amara sleep against his chest like he was memorizing proof that last night had been real. She stirred, opened her eyes, smiled. "Good morning." The best morning. He kissed her forehead, gentle as prayer. A knock shattered the moment. "Boss!" A guard's urgent voice. "Someone at the gate. Says it's life or death." They dressed quickly. Tae-jin grabbed his gun. At the compound entrance stood a woman, beaten, desperate, barely standing. Amara recognized her from the photograph. "Yuki." Dr. Yuki Tanaka stumbled forward. "I need to see Tae-jin, please." Inside, over tea she couldn't drink because her hands shook too badly, Yuki's story spilled out. "Park forced me to spy on you for 6 months." She looked at Tae-jin with guilt-heavy eyes. "He has my family in Japan. I fed him information, your routines, your security, your weaknesses. Why tell us now?" Tae-jin's voice was ice. "Because he knows about her." Yuki turned to Amara. "Knows Tae-jin loves you. He's planning to take you tonight, full assault. He wants you to watch each other die." She pulled a flash drive from her jacket, bruised from Park beating her for it. Everything. His crimes, his network, judges he's bribed, murders with proof. Enough to destroy him legally, but you have to survive tonight first. Tae-jin took the drive. "Why help us?" Yuki's eyes filled with tears. "Because I couldn't be what you needed. I tried for 3 months. I loved you, but the physical pain..." She looked at Amara. "But she succeeded where I couldn't. You deserve that. You both do." She stood on shaky legs. "He's worth the patience, the pain, everything." Yuki left to hide, vanishing into Seoul's crowds. Tae-jin examined the flash drive. "There's a GPS tracker embedded in it. Park knows exactly where we are now." Amara's phone rang. Chidi's number. "Sister, some men were following me." His voice shook. "I ran. I'm hiding in the library. What's happening?" Her worst fear realized. "Stay there. Don't move." Tae-jin was already on his phone. "I'm sending my people to Lagos. They'll extract him, bring him here safely." "And then what? We can't run forever." His eyes met hers. Dark. Determined. "No, we end this tonight. Together." If you're loving this impossible love story, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Would you have stayed? Because what's coming next will test everything they've built. They spent the day preparing. Tae-jin's remaining men fortified the compound. Amara set up a field hospital in case of casualties. Every window became a potential sniper position. Every door a breach point. Sunset painted Seoul blood red. Park's attack came with darkness, explosions at the outer gates, armed men pouring through like a flood. Tae-jin's guards returned fire, but they were outnumbered 3-1. Amara stayed in the medical suite, treating wounded men as they were dragged in. Gunshot, wounds, shrapnel injuries. One guard died in her hands, whispering his mother's name. Then Park's voice boomed through speakers. "Kang, come out and face me or I burn this place down with everyone inside." Tae-jin found Amara, blood on his face, determination in his eyes. "Stay here, lock the doors." "No." She grabbed the gun she'd learned to shoot. "You taught me to fight, so let me fight." They moved through the compound together, back to back, a team. In the central courtyard, Park waited, 20 men behind him, floodlights turning night into day. The great Kang Tae-jin. Park's smile was a wound. On his knees for a woman. Your father would be ashamed. My father sold me like livestock. His opinion means nothing. But what about hers? Park gestured to Amara. Think she'll stay when the novelty wears off, when the pain becomes routine, when she realizes she's settled for a freak? Tae-jin's jaw clenched, but Amara stepped forward. "I'm not Yuki." Her voice rang clear. "I'm not running. We found our way. Something you and your brother never understood. Real love adapts." Park's rage boiled over. He lunged at Tae-jin. The fight was brutal, personal. Years of hatred in every blow. Amara ran to the medical suite, uploaded the flash drive contents to every news outlet, every police database, every prosecutor's office in Seoul. Evidence flooded the digital world. Park's empire exposed in seconds. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police coming fast. In the courtyard, Tae-jin had Park pinned, fist raised for the killing blow. "Do it!" Park spat blood. "Prove you're the monster I always said you were." Tae-jin's hand trembled, then lowered. "No, you're not worth becoming what you think I am." Police stormed the compound, arrested Park's men, handcuffed Park himself. As they dragged him away, he screamed, "You're still a freak, Kang. She'll leave. They always leave." Tae-jin looked at Amara. She crossed to him, took his bloodied hand. A detective approached. "Kang Tae-jin, we have evidence of your crimes too. Racketeering, murder, extortion." Amara stepped forward. "He'll cooperate fully. Testify against Park. Dismantle his entire organization. Give you everything." Tae-jin stared at her. "You're asking me to destroy my empire. I'm asking you to choose that life or our life, power or love." The compound burned in places, bodies being removed, everything he'd built crumbling. He looked at his men, his wealth, his reputation, then at her, only her. "You, always you." To the detective, "I'll tell you everything. On one condition, you extract Dr. Okafor's brother from Lagos safely first." The detective nodded. "Deal." 6 months of legal procedures followed. Tae-jin gave testimony that dismantled Park's network and his own, accepted a plea deal, no prison time, but all assets seized except a small amount. 18 months house arrest. Amara lost her medical license for working with criminals, but was cleared of charges. They moved into a small apartment in Itaewon, 1 bedroom, cramped kitchen, but the windowsill was covered in plants she was growing, her mother's habit. Korean good luck charms hung everywhere, his way of caring. Chidi arrived from Lagos, sleeping on their couch, attending Seoul National University. Their family, finally together. Amara ran an unlicensed community clinic from a converted shop below their apartment. Immigrants who couldn't afford doctors, people the system forgot. Tae-jin did remote consulting, legitimate work, enough to support them. One evening after clinic hours, she was organizing supplies when he appeared, dropped to one knee, pulled out a simple ring. "I have nothing left to offer you except me. No empire, no money, just a man who will spend every day learning how to love you better." His voice cracked. "Marry me. Let me spend my life proving I'm worth your patience." She was crying. "That's everything I need." "Yes? Yes? God, yes, always yes." They kissed in their tiny clinic that smelled like antiseptic and hope, building something new from the ashes of everything old. 3 months of planning a wedding on a budget that would have bought Tae-jin a single suit in his former life. Amara woke on their wedding day to nausea rolling through her stomach. Again. 3rd morning this week. Stress, she told herself. Wedding nerves. She pushed through it, applied minimal makeup with shaking hands. The simple white dress Chidi had helped her pick hung perfectly, but exhaustion clung to her like a second skin. In the bathroom mirror, she looked pale. Dark circles under her eyes no concealer could fully hide. A knock. "Nuna, you ready?" Chidi's voice. "Almost." She forced brightness into her tone. The bedroom door opened. Tae-jin stood there, breathtaking in a simple black suit. His eyes scanned her face and caught something. The tremor in her hands as she fastened her earring, the way she steadied herself against the vanity, the paleness beneath her makeup. "Amara." He crossed to her. "Are you all right?" She turned, smiled too brightly. "Yes, just wedding nerves. You know how it is." He studied her face the way he'd learned to read people for survival. "Are you sure? You've seemed tired lately. If you're having second thoughts—" Fear flashed in his eyes, the old wound reopening. She cupped his face. "I have never been more sure of anything. I love you. I want this. I want us." She kissed him deeply, pouring certainty into it. "Promise me." His voice cracked. "Promise you're not just enduring this, that you really want to marry me." "I promise." She held his gaze. "Now let's go before you spiral into doubt." He laughed, tension easing slightly, but worry still lingered in his eyes. The ceremony was in their clinic, converted for the day. Nigerian fabric draped beside Korean silk. Jollof rice and kimchi on the same table, their two worlds blending. The guest list was small. Chidi, Minjai, and Hana, who'd returned seeking forgiveness and been granted it slowly. A handful of patients from the clinic. Yuki, who'd flown from Tokyo to witness. Chidi walked Amara down the makeshift aisle. Tae-jin waited at the altar, eyes red-rimmed, struggling to believe this moment was real. The officiant began. Words about love and commitment and choosing each other daily. Their vows came next. Amara went first, voice steady despite the exhaustion. "I choose you, not despite your complications, but with them. I choose the patience required, the adaptation, the learning. I choose you every day, and I'll keep choosing you for the rest of my life." Tae-jin's voice broke. "I never believed I'd stand here. Never believed someone would stay. You taught me that my body doesn't define my worth, that love is possible, that I deserve it. I choose you, today and every day after." Tears streamed down both their faces. The rings came next, simple bands. He slid hers on with trembling fingers. She did the same, holding his hand like an anchor. The officiant smiled. "You may now kiss your bride." The small crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Amara and Tae-jin leaned toward each other. Finally, husband and wife. Her vision blurred. The room tilted. Her legs gave out completely. She collapsed. Tae-jin barely caught her before she hit the ground. Chaos exploded. "Amara!" His scream tore through the celebration. "Someone call an ambulance!" He cradled her on the floor, checking her pulse with shaking hands. "No, no, no, please, not now. Not like this." Chidi dropped beside them. "What happened? What's wrong?" Hana, nursing student, checked vitals. "Pulse is strong. She's breathing. She just fainted." But Tae-jin's mind was spiraling to the darkest place. The thought that had haunted him through every moment of happiness. She doesn't want this. Her body gave out rather than kiss me. I've done this to her. She was forcing herself, and her body finally rebelled. His face crumbled even as he held her. "I did this. God, I did this to her." "No, boss," Minjae tried. "She was pretending, all of it, and I was too selfish to see." The ambulance arrived within minutes. Paramedics loaded her onto a stretcher. Tae-jin climbed in beside her, refusing to let go of her hand. At the hospital, they made him wait outside the examination room. He paced like a caged animal, destroyed. Chidi tried to calm him. "She loves you. This isn't... You don't understand." Tae-jin's voice broke. "I've made every woman in my life suffer. Why would she be different? She was trying so hard to make it work, and I broke her." 20 agonizing minutes passed. The doctor emerged, smiling. "Mr. Kang, your wife is fine. Congratulations." "Congratulations?" His voice was hollow. "She collapsed at our wedding." "Yes, because she's pregnant. About 8 weeks. The stress of the wedding day combined with hormonal changes and probably not eating enough this morning. She fainted. But she and the baby are perfectly healthy." Time stopped. "Pregnant?" The word felt foreign. You're going to be parents. She didn't know, by the way. This is as much a surprise to her as it is to you. The world tilted on its axis. Every fear he'd carried, every certainty that happiness couldn't last, every belief that he was cursed, shattered. Can I see her? Of course. He ran, found her awake in the hospital bed looking dazed. When she saw him, her first words were, "I'm sorry. I ruined the wedding." He crossed to her in 2 strides, took her face in his hands. "You're pregnant." "What?" "We're having a baby. You fainted because you're pregnant." Her face transformed, shock, then joy, then tears. "A baby? We're having a baby?" "Yes." He was crying too. "God, yes." They held each other, both sobbing. Then his greatest fear surfaced, spoken aloud for the first time. What if the baby has my condition? What if I passed it on? She pulled back, looked him in the eyes. "Then we'll teach them exactly what you taught me. That their body doesn't define their worth, that they're perfect as they are, that love adapts, that they're wanted and cherished exactly as they come." He kissed her desperately. "I thought you didn't want the wedding. I thought you were realizing you couldn't marry me." "Never." She held his face. "I want you. I want this. I want our family, all of it. I love you so much. I love you too." A nurse peeked in. "Your guests are outside. Should I tell them?" Amara laughed. "Tell them to meet us back at the clinic. We have a wedding to finish." The clinic had transformed again by the time they returned. News had spread fast. Banners now read, "Just married," alongside, "Baby on the way." Someone had strung lights across the ceiling. The table overflowed with food their neighbors had brought. Korean fried chicken next to Nigerian moa moa, bulgogi beside suya. Tae-jin carried Amara inside despite her protests. "The doctor cleared me to walk." "I don't care. I almost lost you today." His arms tightened around her. The crowd erupted. Cheers, applause, tears. Chidi was first to reach them, crushing his sister in a hug. "I'm going to be an uncle." "You're going to be the best uncle." She held him tight. Min-jae approached cautiously, Hana beside him. "Congratulations, both of you. I'm glad you got your happy ending." Tae-jin extended his hand. "You're part of this family, if you want to be." Min-jae took it, eyes wet. "I want to be." Hana hugged Amara carefully. "I'm studying obstetric nursing. If you need help during the pregnancy, I'd love that." Yuki was last. She stood apart, watching with bittersweet joy. Amara crossed to her. "Thank you for coming, for everything. You did it." Yuki's smile trembled. "You built the life I couldn't. Thank you for showing me it was possible." "It's possible because of patience and love that refuses to quit." Yuki nodded, dabbing her eyes. "I'm returning to Tokyo tomorrow, but I wanted to see this, to know he's happy." "He is. We are." Music started. Someone had brought speakers, traditional Korean drums mixed with Afro beats, their 2 worlds dancing together. Tae-jin found Amara in the crowd, extended his hand. "May I have this dance, wife?" "Always, husband." They swayed together in their tiny clinic, his hand protective on her still flat stomach, her head against his chest. "I'm terrified," he whispered. "Of what?" "Being a father. What if I'm terrible at it?" "You won't be. You'll teach them about strength, survival, choosing love even when it's hard." "What if they have my condition?" She pulled back to look at him. "Then we'll love them exactly as they are. Help them understand they're not their body, that they're perfect, that they're wanted." His tears fell onto her hair. "How did I get so lucky?" "You didn't. You chose to be vulnerable, and I chose to stay." The celebration continued around them. Chidi teaching Min-jae to dance to Afro beats, Hana laughing with clinic patients, their community, their chosen family surrounding them with joy. Later, as the party wound down, Tae-jin pulled Amara to a quieter corner. "I need to say something." She waited. "These past months, learning how to be together physically, it hasn't been easy." "I know, but you never gave up, even when it hurt, even when it seemed impossible." His voice cracked. "You taught me that intimacy isn't about perfection. It's about patience, communication, trying until we find what works." "We found our rhythm." She smiled. "Literally." He laughed, blushing. "We did. And now." His hand covered hers on her stomach. "Now we're creating life. Together. Something I never thought possible. Everything about us was supposed to be impossible. But here we are. Here we are." They kissed, soft and deep, tasting salt from happy tears. Chidi's voice cut through. "Nuna, come cut the cake before I eat it all." They joined the celebration, cut the simple cake together, fed each other bites while everyone cheered. As night deepened, guests began to leave. Hugs, promises to visit. The clinic slowly emptied. Finally, just the 5 of them remained: Amara and Tae-jin, Chidi, Min-jae, and Hana. "We should go," Min-jae said. "Let you rest." "Stay." Tae-jin's voice was firm. "Have tea with us. Family doesn't leave early." They sat around the clinic's small table, drinking tea, talking about everything and nothing: plans for the baby, Chidi's university classes, Hana's nursing program, Min-jae's new security consulting business. Ordinary conversation, ordinary life, everything Tae-jin had never thought he could have. Later, in their apartment upstairs, Amara changed out of her wedding dress with Tae-jin's help. "How do you feel?" He kissed her shoulder. "Exhausted, happy, terrified, excited, everything at once." "Same." They climbed into bed. He pulled her against him, hand resting on her stomach. "I can't believe there's a person growing in there. Half you, half me. What if they have your stubbornness? What if they have your tendency to brood?" She laughed. "We're going to be terrible at this. Probably, but we'll figure it out, like we figured out everything else." Silence settled. Comfortable. Safe. "Amara?" "Thank you for staying." She turned in his arms to face him. "Thank you for being worth staying for." They made love that night, slowly, carefully, the way they'd learned. Her on top, controlling everything. Communication and trust and patience. Still not perfect, still required care, but undeniably theirs. Afterward, wrapped around each other in the dark, Tae-jin whispered, "I used to think I was cursed, that my body made me unlovable. And now I think maybe I was just waiting. For you. For this. For us. We found each other. Against impossible odds. The best things usually are impossible. Until they're not." He held her tighter. "I love you. You and whoever this little person becomes. We love you too." Sleep came easy. For the first time in years, neither of them had nightmares. Outside their small window, Seoul glittered, a city of millions, and in one tiny apartment in Itaewon, 2 people who'd learned that love wasn't about perfect bodies or easy answers. It was about choosing each other every day, through pain and patience and impossible biology. It was about adaptation, communication, refusing to give up. It was about building something real from broken pieces. And it was about believing that sometimes, just sometimes, impossible things become possible when you refuse to let them stay impossible. 9 months carried weight differently than Amara expected. The pregnancy was textbook normal, every checkup perfect, every ultrasound showing a healthy baby. But the waiting felt eternal. Tae-jin became impossibly protective, hovering, worrying, researching infant care like it was a military operation. "I'm not made of glass," Amara told him for the 100th time. "I know, but you're carrying the most important person in the world. Second most important." She kissed him. "You're tied for first." Chidi finished his first year at university with top marks. Hana completed her nursing certification. Min Jae's security consulting business took off. Going legitimate suited him. The clinic below their apartment thrived. Amara hired another unlicensed doctor, a refugee from Syria, to help with the load. Their life was small, simple. Nothing like Tae-jin's former empire, but it was theirs. Labor came at 3 a.m, 2 weeks before the due date. Tae-jin drove like he was outrunning death itself. Breathe. Just breathe. I am breathing. She gripped the door handle through a contraction. You breathe. At the hospital, everything moved fast, too fast. Monitors beeping, nurses rushing, the doctor checking dilation. You're progressing quickly. This baby's eager to meet you. 6 hours of labor. Tae-jin never left her side, held her hand through every contraction. Let her curse him, squeeze his fingers until they went numb, scream that this was his fault. I know, he said. I'm sorry. You're amazing. You're doing amazing. I hate you right now. I know. I love you too. When the final push came, when their daughter emerged crying and perfect, when the doctor placed her on Amara's chest, time stopped. She was tiny, beautiful. 10 perfect fingers, 10 perfect toes, a tuft of black hair, skin the exact shade between Amara's brown and Tae-jin's lighter tone. She's here, Amara sobbed. Our daughter is here. Tae-jin couldn't speak, could only stare at this miracle they'd created, tears streaming down his face. The nurse cleaned the baby, weighed her, wrapped her in a blanket, handed her to Tae-jin. He held his daughter like she was made of starlight and wishes. Hi, he whispered. I'm your dad. I'm going to mess this up sometimes, but I promise I'll always love you. The baby yawned, opened her eyes, dark like his. She has your eyes, Amara said, and your nose. He traced it gently. She's perfect. They named her Kemi, precious in Yoruba, Kemi Okafor Kong. The first weeks were sleepless chaos, feeding every 2 hours, diaper changes, learning to interpret different cries, both of them fumbling through it together. Chidi visited daily, immediately smitten with his niece. She's so small. How is anything this small? You were this small once, Amara reminded him. Lies. I was born this tall. Hana taught them swaddling techniques. Min Jae installed security cameras, just in case. Yuki sent gifts from Tokyo. Their tiny apartment overflowed with love. One night, 3 months in, Kemi finally slept for 4 straight hours. A miracle. Amara woke to find Tae-jin's side of the bed empty, found him in the nursery, holding their sleeping daughter, tears on his face. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. His voice cracked. Everything's right. Too right. I keep waiting for it to end. She crossed to him, wrapped her arms around both of them. It's not ending. This is our life now. I don't deserve this. You chose this. You chose vulnerability over power, love over fear. You earned this. What if she grows up and hates what I was, what I did? Then we'll tell her the truth, that you were lost, that you found your way, that people can change. She kissed his temple, and that her father chose love, always. He held them both, his whole world in his arms. Kemi grew fast, 6 months, first smile, first laugh, rolling over. She was curious, fearless, grabbed everything within reach, and she was healthy, perfectly, wonderfully healthy. The fear that had haunted Tae-jin, that she'd inherit his condition, faded with each doctor's visit, each assurance that she was developing normally. Even if she had, Amara reminded him, we'd have loved her the same. I know, but I'm glad she won't have to carry what I carried. She'll carry other things. Every person does. We'll help her with those too. One evening, Kemi asleep in her crib, they sat on their small balcony, Seoul stretched below, glittering. Do you ever miss it? Amara asked. The power, the money, the empire. Tae-jin considered. Sometimes I miss the control, the certainty, knowing I could fix any problem with enough force or money. But I wouldn't trade this." He gestured to their modest life. "Not for anything. I'd rather have you and Kemi in this tiny apartment than rule Seoul alone. We're not rich. We're richer than I ever was." He took her hand. "I have you. I have our daughter. I have people who know the worst of me and chose to stay. That's wealth." She leaned against him. "We did the impossible. We did. We made love work despite biology, despite your past, despite everything. You made it work. I just learned to believe you wouldn't leave." "I'm never leaving." "I know." He kissed her hair. "I finally believe it." Below, the city hummed. Millions of lives, millions of stories, most of them ordinary. And in one small apartment in Itaewon, two people who'd learned that ordinary was extraordinary. That love wasn't about perfect bodies or easy paths. It was about choosing someone every single day, through difficulty and doubt and moments when giving up seemed easier. It was about patience, adaptation, communication, trust. It was about refusing to let impossible stay impossible. Kemi cried from inside. They both stood. "My turn," Tae-jin said. "You sure?" "Yeah, you rest." She watched him go to their daughter, watched him lift. Kemi, with infinite gentleness, watched him sway, singing softly in Korean. A man who'd once ruled through fear, now ruling nothing but his own heart. A man who'd thought he was cursed, now blessing their daughter with lullabies. A man who'd believed he was unlovable, now drowning in love. Amara thought about the day she'd saved his life in her basement clinic, how she'd had no idea that dying man would become her husband, her daughter's father, her impossible love. She thought about Yuki's warning, about the failed attempts, about the moment she'd seen his body and felt fear, about choosing him anyway, about learning together, finding their rhythm, making impossible into possible. She thought about Park's taunts, about everyone who'd said it wouldn't last, that she'd leave like all the others. But here they were, building a life, raising a daughter, running a clinic, making dinner in a cramped kitchen, arguing over whose turn it was to do dishes, living, not perfectly, not easily, but genuinely. Tae-jin returned, Kemi asleep on his shoulder. She just needed to know we were here. We're always here. They put their daughter back in her crib, returned to bed, held each other in the dark. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For seeing me. Not the monster or the boss or the freak. Just me. Thank you for letting me see you. I love you. I love you too." They fell asleep wrapped around each other, their daughter breathing softly nearby, Seoul dreaming outside their window. Two people who'd learned that love wasn't about overcoming obstacles. It was about facing them together, every single day, choosing each other, again and again and again, until impossible became their everyday reality, until always became right now, together. If this story of impossible love becoming possible moved you, subscribe for more romances that keep it real. The messy, the beautiful, the hard-won, happy endings. Drop a comment. What would you sacrifice for true love? Would you have stayed? New story drops soon. And trust me, you won't want to miss where love takes us next. The end.